Well, it's not very often you get to see one of the House subcommittees at work, and we got one today. I like when Nancy Mace and Jasmine Crockett are in there together. Nancy Mace is the white lady from the Republican side of the aisle, and Jasmine Crockett is the black lady on one side. They could probably make a lot of money if they do a little pay-per-view fight or something and get in the ring because she's fiery. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is like a wild. She'd probably beat the hell out of Crockett, but this one here and her are probably more evenly matched. It'd probably be a pretty good fight, and they talk a good one too. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into this video. This is really a video just to remind us all why we're all here and why we're all doing this. You know, we are here for this Congress to do something to better all of our lives. Everyone, everyone, not any specific group of people. However, it's up to every specific group of people to fight and make things happen for themselves because nobody's going to do it for you. It's very important to understand that and to know that and not to keep jumping out of your skin. I'm telling you, by the end of this 4-year term, black people are going to be a nervous wreck if we keep ducking and dodging and moving at every whim of the Democrats, because I'm hearing things and seeing things that are just out and out ridiculous. Not all of it is untrue, but ridiculous. You're on the losing team. It's got to be a better way. You got folks who you owe. You got folks who you need to do some things for because you never have. You got some favors to pay back. You got some. Kamala Harris just raised $1 billion in a 3-month campaign and don't have anything left. It might even be in debt. What is going on with that? And that's the person we're supposed to vote in office. We got to do better. That is $1 billion, no matter how you slice it up. It could have gone to something. And if we need all this money to run our politics, then this ain't no democracy. And nobody can, Bernie Sanders and all these people who like to get up there and talk about how dirty the money is in politics, and then what do? Go out and campaign. I mean, it's that you have to compete. That's the way it is. But we need to sit down and come out with a technical name for what this government is, because it isn't a democracy. They say it's a representative democracy. I've heard when the Democrats are in power, I've heard it even being called communists and socialists and all those kind of names. So in seriousness, why do our politicians play so rough when these are our lives and those are their jobs? They can tell us whatever they want to tell us about how serious they are or how committed they are, but in reality, that is their job. And one day they're going to either step down, die, or get voted out. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. Even the older ones, they got to go. But what I'm not digging is how we are just blowing in these political winds, especially under the conditions. I know you feel like you got to get out there and do something about Trump because he's following out Project 2025 and he's radical and he's racist and he's all these things. What I don't like is for Donald Trump or anybody in his administration to be viewed differently than anybody on the Democratic side. That's my goal, is for everybody to understand that you can put sugar on it, you can sweeten it up, you can make it look better, but racism is racism. And as long as people expect us to just get over it, this can be pretty exhausting just to hear, like, fuck. Nobody don't want to hear about racism all the time because it's easier not to.
Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Chairman Comer. First of all, my first question is, who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here.
Hunter Biden, and she talking crazy. Can you believe? Look at him. He's sitting there like, ay, ay, ay. Hunter Biden is a very well off. I mean, even without any of the other stuff, he's a Biden. They're not a poor family, but he's a well off dude. But I really believe he's kind of a crappy person. I really believe that he is the epitome of white privilege. Just to, although he is the president's son, so that's a little different. I don't think that anybody would, as a sitting president or a person in a position to pardon your children, you don't want your kids going to prison. You just don't. But that's where Biden should never have been out there bragging that he would never do it. He just that was the line that was crossed for me. But look at Hunter, man. He don't get out much. But yeah, apparently they subpoenaed him, and the last time they subpoenaed him, he made it to the steps, but he didn't come into the building. Well, this time he's inside. And look at him, man. That's Joe's boy right there. He's probably more like Joe than that other one, the one who passed away, when Biden wouldn't run. So that would have been around, 2016 or 15? But Bo, his son Bo. But this one here, that's a spitting image of him, inside and out. And the more I hear and know and learn about Hunter, yeah, exactly, just like him.
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
If
The ladies recognize.
if the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
Are women
allowed to speak in here or no?
Okay.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no?
Order.
Could you keep interrupting me?
I'll interrupt the
You keep
chairman. I don't know that he's a lady.
I think that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our nation is founded on the rule of law.
Come on.
And the premise that the law applies equally to everyone, no matter what your last
Point of
name.
order, Mr. Chairman. Point of
It
order.
doesn't matter who you are.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Biggs over here.
Donald Trump Jr.
Biggs over here.
State your point, Mr. Biggs.
Yeah, my point of order is this.
Okay, all right. So we love the Constitution today, and we also want to talk about foreign money coming in. Have y'all seen the report that was just produced where this chairman decided that he was going to block this committee from receiving additional information about y'all's guy, Trump, and all the money that he took? From what we did receive, we know that Trump got almost $6 million that we can account for, and we know that there's more there. From China specifically, we found almost $8 million total that he accepted from foreign governments while he was serving as the president of these United States. But we're concerned about the president's son who has not been involved in his administration. I just want to run it back, though, to the very beginning.
See, that just makes me cringe to see a black senator, I'm sorry, a black congresswoman up there fighting for Biden, defending Biden's son. Biden's son is fine. You don't have to say anything about him. He is not going to jail. He's sitting in this hearing because he wants to. If he don't want to, he ain't got to be there probably. I'm sure it's a workaround. He's got mental issues. He can have a issue that will make him possibly excusably absent. But I just don't like that we apply so much pressure defending Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is a crappy guy. He really is. He really is. I don't care what your politics are. There's no way you can think that Hunter Biden is a good person. Hunter Biden has done everything, I'm sorry, more things than some people who have gone to prison, who's actually been inside a prison. And he hasn't been. I just think that I like the way Nancy Mace was talking to him, but I don't like Jasmine defending him. He's a man, and he's a white man, and he's the president's son or the former president's son. He good. You do not have to protect him. I just think that's a little bit overboard. That's where we're losing our way. We are forgetting why we're there. You are not there to be defending Hunter Biden. I don't think that most people who vote for you in your district or nationally would give a damn about Hunter Biden. We're more concerned about the position that you're in and what you can do from that position that can help your people out, hopefully. But defending Hunter Biden, no, hell no.
Because this is something that I just can't get over. I can't get over the gentle lady from South Carolina talking about white privilege. It was a spit in the face, at least of mine as a black woman, for you to talk about what white privilege looks like, especially from that side of the aisle. And let me quote your now ousted speaker and what he had to say about the Republican Party and y'all's lack of diversity. When you look at the Democrats, they actually look like America. When I look at my party, we look like the most restrictive country club in America. So let me tell you something. Y'all don't know what white privilege looks like, but I'm gonna show you a little bit of something. You see, you want to talk about a two-tier justice system, and this is the only time that y'all have ever referenced it, when this country has a history when it comes to black and brown folk of having two separate sets of rules. And right now, what you want to do is have two separate.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up that they are ready to talk about a two-tiered system and address it or remark on it. But they're talking about a president's son as opposed to the rest of the population. You know, that's not a real good comparison or an example, because it is what it is. I think Donald Trump would do the same. He didn't have to. But if Donald Jr. or one of his other children, Barron or whatever, where Tiffany was in trouble, he would fix it. He'd be like, nah, I'm not going to let my child go to prison. And I get that for Biden as well. I totally do. And I mean, as far as him speaking out that he wouldn't do it and me just not liking him, you know, for legitimate reasons. I don't just arbitrarily dislike the man, but Biden and Hunter, to remind me so much of each other, and it is his son, I understand, but their personalities, and they just don't appear to be real genuinely good people. I guess that's about as clearly as I can put it. But Jasmine Crockett would be better served not defending Hunter Biden. But I like her argument. I do see how that could garner support from folks who like her, but I can't support that kind of speech when she's not there for that. She's not there to defend Hunter. She's there to defend us. And that's real. That's what she need to be there doing. She need to find a way while the Democrats are in disarray to start. You be the lead. You let the people know why you're there and what you're going to argue for, and put it out there. And if they don't like it, it'll be hard for them to say too much to you, because they ain't got nothing going on right now. They do, and they need you. You are very instrumental in the Democrats' agenda right now, and they need you.
Sets of rules, because Mr. Moskowitz offered y'all a fair situation. He said he would vote for Hunter to be held in contempt if y'all voted to hold all, even if you remove all of the members of Congress. There's still other people that y'all haven't decided that y'all have excuses for, but y'all don't want to hold them in contempt. But for some reason, it makes sense to hold Hunter Biden in contempt, who has tried to comply. And let me
Hunter ass is a law-breaking little spoiled-ass president's son. And for her to say anything other than what I just said is a lie. And that's what I don't like. If you're going to lie, if you're going to compromise your integrity, do it for a reason that people could at least understand later on, and not that you are really willing to get caught up in politics to the point of where you make yourself look like this in front of people who are watching. Watchful eyes are watching and saying, wow, she'd say that. She knows she don't feel that way about Hunter Biden. Not at all. But I would like to know that she's more of a trustworthy person than to just be selling herself out for whatever. And in this case, it looks like just one of those resets. You just default back to this is what the party do and circle the wagons, and Hunter's, no, he's not to be protected. He was never elected to do anything. He's on drugs, messing up in life, causing his dad heartache and concern, but still able to work, able to make millions of dollars because he's a Biden, able to avoid prison. So we cannot be up there defending him. That's my issue with Jasmine's part. But when we get back to Nancy Mace over there, that lady is like, she's the one who called Jasmine out. If you guys remember a couple of months ago, a month and a half ago, she's like, we can take this outside. Man, I never heard nothing like that before in my life. And I really think she meant it. That's why I say, and Jasmine's not a big girl, and she ain't. They should probably do a little, put the oversized gloves on so nobody gets hurt, and let them go in there and do a little pay-per-view 3-rounder. They see how tired they get real quick, and they won't be mad at each other no more. They might help each other out of the ring when it's over with, because they can be so exhausted. But Jasmine, just don't like, and that takes away from me everything that she's talking about, because the passion and the wording and the way she's speaking in this particular, like letting her know, hey, you ain't gonna talk about 2-tier systems, because but then she interjected, I'm a black woman, and all her little part, and then only to defend Biden. No, we're not gonna bring our blackness out to defend Hunter Biden. We can't be doing that. We've been doing it too much for other things, and we need to stop. Blackness needs to be brought out for blackness. That's it.
Tell you why nobody wants to talk to y'all behind closed doors, because y'all lie. That's just the bottom line. You have done it thus far in this investigation. You have done it this far as it relates to this committee. In every single hearing, y'all spin. I don't know how y'all are still standing right now, because you should be quite dizzy from all the spinning that you're constantly doing when it comes to spinning the truth. You talk about free and fair elections, but you back a guy who we know tried to steal the election. And this isn't about what Democrats have to say. Let me remind you, for those of you that don't know how the justice system works, it's not a matter of the president went in and indicted Trump, but we are talking about grand juries. Grand juries are comprised of American citizens, and the people that have entered pleas of guilty that will be flipping on your leader in a minute, they are Republicans. I do want to point that out. And half of them were Republicans that were handpicked by Donald Trump himself. So, to be clear, whatever happens to your little leader, it's going to be because of.
I don't like when she be doing that, the little leader, and she's a really educated person. She really is, and I wish she would lean on that and be above a reproach when it comes to her intellect and her intelligence and her professionalism, and that would be just so refreshing, but also on point with a message and her own message. Something that she's passionate about, and not what they're telling her to do, because it's so obvious that it's not natural, and it's so obvious that she pulled out this character that she's using, which is hilarious. She's really, really good at doing the ghetto stick chick, whatever she's doing, but it's not her. That's not how she really talks, and it's not genuine, and it's not effective. It's not getting us or her anywhere, and I really, it troubles me that she's willing to do this, and I'm very critical of that behavior, because it's something that's been popping and rearing its ugly head over our existence, and it hasn't gotten us anywhere, and especially if you're going to be a representative and you think when you get in front of a camera it's okay to pull out all the blackness and display that for what, and not get us anywhere. When you do certain things, you better have a plan and an agenda and an idea of where you're going with it, and not that you're just gonna get on a microphone and just sell out and dance and giggle just to be doing it. We have to have a plan that makes some sense. And Jasmine Crockett looks really young. I think she's in her early 40s, but she looks real young. Every time I look at her, I'm thinking she's maybe, and the way she's been carrying herself, she comes across as a person who could be maybe 10 or 12 years younger in the way she's conducting herself. Usually when women get into their early 40s, they're not with all that in public like that. Maybe at home they might clown and joke and, make Kendrick or Lamar videos, dance videos, but I don't know. I just want to see her do better, and I I'm pulling for her because I really do feel that she's a very important part of what we need to do. I just wish that she'd see it differently than the Democrats do, because they're in lockstep and it's not getting us anywhere. In my opinion, the
actions that he took. So you can talk all you want to about how January 6th was nonsense, but all of y'all were running at that time. Y'all were grabbing y'all's gas masks and y'all were running to your offices because you didn't know if they were coming to kill you. You should have cared that somebody was there to protect you, but instead you want to play games because you found out that it was your leader that decided that he wanted to propagate an insurrection on our country. So don't tell me that you care about the Constitution, because you don't. All you care about is Trump getting reelected, and I'll yield the last of my time to my leader.
Thank you very much, Ms. Crockett, for your eloquent and powerful and irrefutable remarks. I'd like to just...
And I don't like Raskin. Just say that real quick. But, like, especially when he, is talking about serious things. And I believe this to be a serious topic, what they're discussing, especially with Hunter Biden being present, coming down to participate. But he got like a little smirk on his face. It's not funny. It's not a joke. And if it is, then Jasmine really needs to knock it off. But she hopefully is there, genuinely trying to help or trying to participate in whatever the agenda is or y'all told her to do. But Raskin over there smirking and whatever, it makes me think otherwise. And I don't like it. It's a waste of time.
Add a couple of points to what you've said. On January 6th, Senator Ted Cruz described it as terrorism. They later came to attack him during their revisionist, Orwellian, Stalinist attempt to rewrite history. Unfortunately for them, we know that there were 147 or 48 of our officers who were wounded, bloodied, and hospitalized by the rabid mob that beset the Capitol that day. We know that Kevin McCarthy, one of their deposed leaders over on their side, called Donald Trump from his office to complain about how his people were storming the Capitol and putting people's lives in danger. And Donald Trump said, no, those aren't my people, those are Antifa. And McCarthy corrected him, said, no, those are your people, Mr. President. To which Donald Trump said, well, maybe they just care a little bit more about who won the election than you did, Kevin McCarthy. You guys have got to deal with reality here. By the way, the speech and debate clause stands for the exact opposite principle who our distinguished new member just spoke about a moment ago. It says that members of Congress cannot be questioned anywhere else other than Congress. So he should read the speech or debate clause aloud.
Let him finish his sentence there. Now, Chair recognizes Mr. Burchett from Tennessee for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My colleagues seem to want to talk about the justice system, so let's talk about it. November of last year, the chairman issued a subpoena to Hunter Biden to appear on December 13th, for a closed-door deposition. Instead of respecting the rule of law, Hunter Biden chose to give a press conference on the front steps of the Senate. To show such contempt for Congress without fear of repercussions highlights a theme throughout this administration and Democrat administrations before it. If you're a big-name Democrat, then you are immune to prosecution. Former Attorney General Eric Holder said as much in a memo he wrote regarding collateral consequences. For those who don't know, the collateral consequence policy allowed prosecutors to consider whether charging a company or individual will result in greater societal harm than not charging them. It's why the banks weren't held criminally accountable to the fallout of the 2008 financial crisis. It is why Jeffrey Epstein's clients aren't behind bars. It is also the mindset of President Biden and his family. Too big to jail. Not too big to fail, too big to jail. The two-tier justice system is a disgrace to our country and the principles it was founded on. I thank the chairman and the committee for the hard work they put in to hold the Biden administration accountable, but I doubt our Justice Department has the guts or the wherewithal to do anything about it. And I would like to yield my time to my friend from Florida, Byron Donalds.
Yield it to Mace.
Actually, I'll yield. Let me yield to Miss Mace. She hasn't gotten enough quality TV time today, so I'll give her a little more time.
Thank you, and then I'll yield to my colleague from Florida as well. I'm going to try to be quick here because I was accused by my colleague on the other side of the aisle about my white privilege. I want to say, number one, as the former ranking member of the Civil Rights Subcommittee on...
Yeah, see, we need to stop right there. Nancy Mace ain't got no goddamn business being the chairman of no civil rights committee. She just don't, you know. And I'm sure she probably feels she did a really good job, but I bet the people whose lives she had the jurisdiction over didn't. So that's that shit. There's no way. I mean, you can't just drop lines like that and think that gives you some kind of credibility. And you know, I mean that I don't know. And I really believe that she is the epitome of a white woman in America. I mean, she really is to a certain degree, and it's not out of touch because they're totally in touch. They're in touch with what reality is from their perspective, but from our perspective, they're out of touch. And she doesn't understand what goes on the other side. And chairing a civil rights where people bring documents in and you read them and you think that you've walked through the alley or whatever. You haven't. It's different. And I know Jasmine Crockett really does know. That's why I feel that her tone and her attitude should be way more serious than it is. It's just not no time to be playing around with these people. And you're a part of the party that's on the losing side. And Raskin and he's the same. People who want to joke and play should be on top. They should be winning. That should be something that they display as confidence and arrogance or whatever the fuck else it is when you're a winner. But when you are not the winner, there are some things you don't get to do. You don't get to be up there clowning and acting like you are going the right way and the rest of the world don't know what's going on. Apparently they do. They voted that man in the office, the one who you keep making nicknames for. That's unprofessional. All that nickname calling to presidents and your colleagues across the aisle or governors or anybody is unnecessary. It's call them by their name, speak what you mean, and let your people know the things that really matter and the things that they can do to help you make their lives better. And not being all over the place on all these late night talk shows. And somebody's going to go down in your district and call you out on some things. And some of your people in your district are going to be supporting that kind of stuff. And it's going to look bad. And somebody is trying to run. I think one of the Republicans from your area is trying to run against you. So you should really pay attention to that stuff and put your people first. And if you have something left to burn, I get it. You know, you can be very influential as a congresswoman on the national stage, but you cannot make that your priority, and you have to stop following Kamala Harris's lead. I think that you are smart enough and in your own right, Jasmine, that you can go ahead and do it alone and be okay. Charting your own course. But not Kamala's. That's not going to work for you. But my girl, Mace here, this girl is crazy. And they're playing. You know, she's saying things and they're like, can a woman talk? That's serious stuff. I mean, if a black man was talking and somebody cut him off and he said, hey, whoa, can black men talk? People would be like, whoa, it'd be a huge thing, an event. So she's using it like tongue in cheek, being funny, I guess. Because she knows she can talk. She knows she have all the rights that they all have in there. And more probably, but we gotta, all of us, even our people on the adversarial side, we need to really take all this serious. And I don't mean take being racist serious, excluding people. Don't take that serious and all those things that you can do. We need to take everybody in the United States who's a citizen of this country. We need to take their lives seriously, and we need to treat them appropriately and consistent with that. That's what we need to do. And people in our House of Representatives talking and acting like this. You can disagree on a idea or on an opinion or on a law or on a person, but to be disrespectful about it is not necessary. That's something that people choose to do. And they are choosing to be openly just disrespectful, which gives us little to no hope that this Congress is going to accomplish anything if those Republicans break down. They have to stay together and just keep it moving. Whatever, we'll deal with the fallout later, and maybe there'll be some exposure that we can do something with, as opposed to like other times, just sweep it up and put it in the trash and don't pay attention to it. Maybe we need to shine a light on some of this stuff and pay attention to it and address it.
Under Chairman Raskin last session, I take great pride as a white female Republican to address the inadequacies in our country. I come from a district where rich and poor is literally black and white, black versus white on most days. My largest jail in my district, which is the largest jail in the state of South Carolina, has had 7 or 8 deaths in the last 2 years. And I was there with our Black and African American council members trying to get the right thing done. And I come from a district where black men have been killed by law enforcement, tased to death in our jails. And I've stood with those black families because I know the differences that they see day to day in their life, and I try to do the best that I can. I come from a district where the first African-American, first black man in the U.S. House of Representatives was Joseph P. Rainey, represented.
Yeah, South Carolina, wow. I tell you, that's a place like most people wouldn't adapt to real quickly. But she knows, like she said, openly, the rich are usually white and the poor are usually black. I mean, she's saying that. Why don't politicians do something to change that? Why don't politicians? Because who would want to relinquish that top spot? Who would want to relinquish their economic advantage? Who would want to do that? Apparently nobody.
My district back in the 1800s with that. The last black member of the U.S. House of Representatives before Reconstruction came from South Carolina, George P. Murray, the black man, former slave and entrepreneur who founded the Republican Party in South Carolina. One of the founding members was named Robert Smalls, who commandeered a Confederate ship and gave it to Union soldiers and served his country admirably in the process. In my district, it was Harriet Tubman, and you can see it in the movie Harriet, who rescued more than 7.
Now, it's going a little far when you start bragging about a slave that was escaping and helping other slaves escape. I mean, you know, she didn't have to say that. She's bragging about some things that don't sound right coming out of her, don't sound real authentic. And I know what she's trying to do, but it ain't working. I ain't buying it.
700 slaves in one night in Beaufort County, South Carolina. So I am very well aware of our rich history and try to recognize it as best as I can in the position that I have. And I resent the fact that you're going to throw that in my face up here. I'm one of the few people that you'll see on my side of the aisle trying to do the right thing.
I'm one of the few people on my side of the aisle you'll see trying to do the right thing. And there are other Republicans in the room, and none of them interrupted her or said, hey, I get it, because they know. And that's a very unfortunate part about the Republican Party and why a lot of black people feel we got the answer, but we don't. They are more open and out with it, without a doubt. But what the Democrats do is equally as harmful and equally as destructive to us. So whether it's out in the open or under the cover with a baseball bat or a machine gun or a machete, it still is what it is. And we can't pick the lesser of two evils when racism is in both of those evils. That's where we got to back up. The lesser of two evils, when you're talking pure politics and not race, is different. But when you're talking race and the lesser of two evils comes up, that doesn't work for me.
People every single day, and I would like to yield the remaining.
Yeah, anyway, folks, I just kind of wanted to pop in on that one because when I heard it, and I heard every time I hear Jasmine Crockett's voice, I tune in. I got to hear what she's talking about. And she is fiery and she's intelligent, and hopefully she'll get it together and stop taking orders from the Democratic Party. They got her out there looking bad. That is not the way we should be fighting. We should be fighting, but not like that. We don't even know what her agenda is. And she's hopping behind Trump. He's signing executive orders. She's jumping behind him and speaking on him. And no, that's not going to work. As a Congresswoman, we need you to get down to work. We need you to get something going. We need you to introduce some legislation that may not get picked up, but that's your so when the Democrats are back in majority, then you can remind them, hey, you remember that legislation that I introduced when we were in the minority and they ignored it? Well, now we're in the majority. I'm going to introduce it again. Make those Democrats become accountable. Don't let them continue to use your voice and your face and your brain and your college degree and whatever else you have that they can borrow and not give you anything for it. And with that, folks, like, comment, share, and please subscribe. And we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.